Sorry for the delay here. Mic check, mic check. Thanks, Emil. Please let me know if you can hear me. All good, all good. Thank you very much. I'm going to wait for a few people to arrive in. I'll post this link on Telegram update channel so that people know where it is, and then we'll get started. Let's wait about 2-3 minutes here. So you get to watch me work for 2 or 3 minutes saying nothing. So there you go. Hey, Jeff Fuel, what's going on? Hey, Ginger Croc. Yeah, interesting artwork. Yeah, I'm actually in a hotel, so not my artwork. But yeah, looks like a really big keychain. I don't know. Zemo asking slightly off topic, what kind of music do you listen to? I listen to pretty much all types of music, I guess. Not such a music listener to relax, to be honest, but when I'm in the car or traveling, I tend to listen to music. But yeah, all kinds, to be quite honest, from all different genres. I look very serious. Yeah, I was just checking some work-related stuff there, Sherwin. Not starting yet, just waiting for some more people to roll in. We'll give it about another minute or so, and then we'll get... yeah, I woke up just recently. I'm on the East Coast of the U.S., so it's about 8 a.m. roughly. And yeah, so haven't been up that long. I guess you could tell. But I'll make my way through this. No problem. I didn't really gain much wisdom streaming to myself. No. I think I might have lost a few brain cells in the attempt to stream to you guys, and found out I was streaming to myself. I was wondering why nobody was in there with me, and kind of just talking about my day. But somebody helped me figure that one out, so we're fine now. Okay, guys, I think we're gonna kick it off. Yeah. Okay, let's start. Okay, so for those of you who haven't come in before, this is This Week in Crypto with me, Kevin Murcko. I'm CEO at CoinMetro. We got a bit of an agenda we usually follow. So the first thing we do is go over some market news from the last week that was curated in our Telegram group. And then we go on to our Kevin Explains Crypto topic, which this week is demurrage. So stay tuned for that. I'll explain what that means. It's actually a cool word because it's actually something that's used outside of the crypto market. So I didn't even know, to be honest, that this was actually used as a term inside of crypto, but it's kind of nice to finally see a real financial term that's used in the crypto market. So demurrage, we'll see about that a little later. Then we go to a live Q&A, and if I have time, I roll over some Reddit questions from last week and the week before, actually, because we missed a few last week. So let's roll on to market news right now. We have 10 news topics. I'll start with number one because it just makes sense. South Korean crypto exchange Coinbin bankrupt after embezzlement. Well, I think I've said this, I don't know, many times, that when it comes down to business and risk evaluation and security and all this stuff, the vast majority of these things fall on protocols. When protocols aren't created, or if they're created and not followed, bad shit happens. So, let's see. The CEO embezzling. Does it have an amount here? I don't see an amount. Oh, here we go. Okay, so they were hacked for 15 million. But they're saying it might end up hack. Okay, so I was going to say this might be more than protocols at this point. So if the CEO, who obviously even in protocol, a decent protocol, would probably still have access to most of the financial information, data, etc., and accounts, well, that's just fraud. So even a protocol is not going to handle fraud. But it just goes to show it's not so much about crypto. This happens in every industry. There are fraudulent CEOs in every industry, auto industry, banking industry, food industry, whatever. More than likely, he was also the founder. So it's not even a hiring process thing. It's not like they missed it. He just created a company, maybe always with the intention to take the money. Who knows? But, and I don't mean this to toot our own horns here at CoinMetro, but if you're dealing with a company and the CEO doesn't have a background to what they're actually doing, or if they're reclusive, where you don't know who they are, or it's just a name on a website and a picture, especially at a company where this person has access and is holding your financial assets, you might want to pick a new place to put your financial assets. Even in big banks, I mean, you might say that big banks are impersonal, but most of the time that CEO is well known in the banking circle, on TV, possibly doing meetings. People know who they are, and they generally have experience. Would you go to a bank where the CEO drives, a Lambo, is a name on a website, no one's ever seen him or even knows if he exists, or blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess it's just another caveat to investing or putting your money somewhere. But yeah, sucks for people who lost out. But yeah, unfortunately, it's hard to weed out that problem from it. There's no way to weed that out internally. Obviously, the guy who runs the company probably owns the company. So it's all about really on the outside clients trying to make their best due diligence to find out where they're going to put their money. Number 2 on a list of 10, Russia to regulate while launching its own oil-backed cryptocurrency. So Russia's been talking about this for quite some time. Initially, it was a ruble-backed kind of stable coin, and now they're talking about oil. And, well, I guess they're following in Venezuela's footsteps. Steps I generally would want to be following in. I do expect that Russia will probably make their own blockchain, though, their own chain, and probably actually have a reason to push out the token or the coin rather than being trying to screw their own people, like our friends in Venezuela. But yeah, Russia's been passing laws, tax laws, and things like that for quite some time. They've infrastructure there to actually get that done safely. So on the face of it, I would say that this is not so surprising. The fact that they're now talking about pegging something to oil is just a kind of a thumbs up. I'm sorry, a finger up at the U.S. and the U.S. monetary policy for sure. Because if they can get people to basically buy and sell oil through Russia, which basically every country that can't buy or doesn't want to buy oil through the United States or through OPEC ends up going through Russia, especially for natural gas, actually. Kind of funny they didn't peg it to natural gas. But yeah, this is just the ongoing kind of trade, let's say, new millennia Cold War, I think, that's brewing, at least in the media and on paper, between Russia and the United States. So we'll see how that plays out. Probably not so similar to the one. I don't think it's going to be that so similar to the one we had during 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. However, we'll see. European exchange giant number 3, European exchange giant Deutsche Börse readies crypto futures launch. So these guys announced about 2 months ago, I think, roughly, that they were getting into the game. Crypto futures, great. They're not the only guys. Obviously, they're not the only game in town for crypto futures, and that market is steadily growing. As long as these futures are underpinned immediately by actual cryptocurrency holdings, it probably will have a positive effect on the market in the long run. What it is doing is it allowing people, look, there's a lot of traders that don't know anything about wallets. They have no idea about how to work a wallet, private keys, demurrage, they have no idea about any of these things. Well, they know about demurrage, that's for sure. But they don't know how to, they don't operate this, and they don't want to. They feel it's unsafe because even if you're able to take your own security into your own hands, if you don't know what you're doing, that doesn't make it safe. So at the end of the day, allowing futures trading, all that's really doing is that people who already know how to trade futures, that have an account at a broker where they can trade futures, can now just click the same button they've been clicking for years and buy cryptocurrency. So that obviously will push some volumes, as long as those volumes correlate back to actual volumes of actual, Bitcoin, and aren't just done via dark pool trades to banks and other institutions that hold the money, and they just keep kind of washing or churning the same money. Like they buy, let's say, 100 million with cryptocurrency over 6 months to a year, and they just use that same, they churn it in and out. That means that they're going to be doing dark pool trades all day long, which is more than likely what they're going to do. And there's not going to be a longer lasting effect on price. But what it will do is bring more people in the door. So I still don't think it's all that awesome, but we'll see how it affects the market. Number 4 on a list of 10, 3 countries, US, Germany, France, host over 50% of the world's Bitcoin nodes. Well, it makes sense because infrastructure, right? So it's kind of funny that you don't see the UK there, because they have a great infrastructure. They have not a great, but a lot of financial infrastructure for financial networking between several huge data centers. But US, obviously, Germany, Frankfurt, huge data center location, lots of AWS servers in there. France is a bit odd, but that could simply be for some other infrastructure reason, or perhaps I don't think it's electricity cost. But anytime there's something to do with any type of cost, there's always certain countries are always going to take dominance. Oil industry, obviously, I don't think I need to list the names. The countries that take dominance: natural gas, diamond mining, gold. Even when you talk about just the place to host servers, look at AWS. Look where their servers are located. There's always, and then go to AWS to, let's say, SoftLayer, and then go from AWS to, let's say, Equinix. Any of these large infrastructure companies that host, they always host in the same cities, and that's not because they like Frankfurt. It's because the infrastructure's there. So this is just following a trend, I think, of most of the underlying tech infrastructure. Number 5 on a list of 10, Cryptopia discusses estimate of stolen crypto, 16 million or 9% of their total assets. All right, so the Cryptopia hack. Let's see, I'm just going to pull this up real quick, guys. Well, 9% of their total assets, that sucks, but security, okay. All right, well, 9%, I mean, if it's 9%, I mean, had about 160 million on tap, which means if only, let's say, 15, 20% of that was actually in motion, 30, 40 million. I don't know what they charge for fees, probably something like 0.2. They probably don't have that much money in their coffers to cover it. Not sure what I haven't read up to see what their solution will be. Is it going to be like a Bitfinex thing where they create a token? Probably not, because now in today's regulatory climate, I don't think they get away with that. Yeah, I don't know. It's basically like giving an IOU. I think they might be in a recovery ship, actually, looking at the articles. Maybe they're already out of business. I don't know. But yeah, it just shows, again, protocols. It's about protocols, guys. Protocols. Cryptocurrency is not inherently unsafe. People are inherently unsafe. This is new technology. Most people a lot of people that are even in the industry don't understand 100% about security protocols around their own private keys, etc. So, people, it's getting better though. We see maybe 1, 2 of these stories a month now, maybe 1 a month. At least larger scale ones. We used to see, 1 every 3 days. So it is getting better. It's not because the technology is getting so much better. It's people understanding the technology more and understanding what they need to do to make sure that people's money is safe. 6, Facebook's stablecoin could hit exchange is in the first half of 2019. Everybody's jumping on the stablecoin bandwagon, right? So, I don't know if Facebook's coin or token or whatever infrastructure they're going to use. I don't see that really. I don't know if that's a stable coin more than a payment token, a payment coin. I think at the end of the day, you're going to be paying advertising and things like that in the Facebook's coin, right? People be able to send money to themselves and their friends with the coin, and then exchange it back to. So I think it's more like a payment coin. Whether it's pegged to anything, that shouldn't be the only requisite to be a stable coin. Facebook has a reason to have tokenized infrastructure. They have a huge infrastructure across multiple platforms, and they collect payments, and they allow for money transfers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it makes sense for them to have a payment token. Stable coin makes much less sense. Whether they peg it or not shouldn't necessarily make it a stable coin. Ethereum's number 7. Ethereum's Constantinople hard fork goes live today. The road to Ether 2.0 begins. Yep, good old Constantinople. As you guys know, we're on BitGo's infrastructure still for wallets. So we're at BitGo's whim as to when they reopen for funding. I think it's probably going to happen quickly, but I don't think it's happened as of yet. It's nice to see that there's movement in the spaces. So this may give a little jolt to Ethereum more than than it may have already have. But at the end of the day, Ethereum has a long way to go. They made a crucial mistake, to be honest, about smart contracts not correlating value to the actual token. So you can have the token at basically zero, smart contracts still operate. But when there's continued investment in infrastructure, in updates, etc., in any project outside of crypto, inside of crypto, it means there's still interest. If there's still interest, that means there's still a possibility for, at the end of the day, for price movement on the upside. So anything like this that's released, especially after they delayed it the first time, is not a bad thing. But they did delay it the first time, so market reaction is probably going to be less than it would have been had they gone live with it when they said they would initially. Number 8 on a list of 10, Kraken offers $100,000 reward to help finding Quadrax funds. Yeah, I saw this one. So good on Kraken. They're probably working with some of their data analytic partners on this as well, and they may actually be working with maybe some larger investors that were on that exchange that just simply want to find their money. But good on them. We've already contacted or already gotten all the wallet addresses in our system, and we're making sure if any of that money touches us that we hold it, flag it, and lock it down. So as long as other exchanges do that as well. And private citizens is a bit different, local Bitcoins, things like that. Those guys really should have filters so that they can find if money's going to those type of accounts and stop it as well. Come on, guys, get with the program. What's wrong with you? Number 9, CoinHive is closing its doors ahead of upcoming Monero hard fork. Yeah, well, another one bites the dust, I guess. Again, not uncommon. Even in the 90% of businesses pretty much fail. So it's not a crypto phenomenon. Sorry. So bear market. Yeah, everybody likes to talk about the bear market. I don't know if that really is there's still volumes, guys. And we've seen volumes. Obviously, they haven't eclipsed what we saw in 2017 or 2018, but volumes have been, as far as the amount of transactions and things like that. Obviously, the amount of money that's turning over is less, but if you made your business inside an artificial bubble, you should expect to fail when the bubble pops. Okay, so yep, just tying it back to the falling price of Monero. So they must have had a lot of money in Monero, and now, well, they can't pay their bills. So, well, I know what that feels like a little bit. So I feel their pain on that one. But still, there's always ways. There's always ways to keep going. Sometimes it's painful, but it can be it can be less painful to close. So that might be the reason here. They just don't want to. They don't want to go down the hard road, I guess. What it does show is obviously that I think the industry as a whole learned a lesson here. Don't hold if you need to have an crypto is not for operational business. I hate to say it, but that's definitely the lesson I think the industry has learned, and it's kind of hard to say you're completely for cryptocurrency and then immediately be exchanging it, into fiat so that you can run your business. Unfortunately, though, that's the climate we're in, and we'll be in that climate for a bit of time before we start to see price stabilization. Number 10, access to thousands of institutions. Gemini Crypto Exchange partners with British Telecom. Yep, I saw this one as well. These guys, big companies have a choice, especially if they're looking at a tokenized future. Either partner with somebody that's already doing it or do the infrastructure themselves, or eventually probably buy out the partner at some point. So, yeah, It makes sense. Look, these guys, it's a test for them. They don't want to test the crypto market by investing lots of money and time themselves. They're partnering with somebody that they think can do a good job. They partner, and this happens again in many industries, not crypto centric. Even a lot of banks have used white label trading technology, right? Because they don't want to create that. They have the money to do it. They could even have the time. They want to get to market, and they'd rather have a press release with somebody that is stable in the market, so they get immediate volumes, and they can merge those volumes along with the volumes of their own clients. And it's a test. If it doesn't work, they lose a minimal amount of money and a minimal amount of time. If it does work, then eventually maybe they create their own infrastructure or they buy out the partner, one or the other. Okay, guys, sorry for the coughing. We're going to move on our agenda. Number 2 on our list of 4 things here on our agenda is Kevin Explains Crypto. So today's word or topic, I guess word in this instance, is demurrage. So this actually comes from the actual, I think it might have started in commodities markets if I'm not mistaken, but it's basically the cost to hold an asset overnight. So there's, sometimes not overnight, sometimes over a weekly period. These things can be when you have to pay in dividends. It can be the cost if you hold physical gold that's sitting inside a vault. In this instance, we're probably talking about stable coins here because there's several classifications of different stable coins, and demurrage is a fee basically for holding. So that demurrage could be tied into just the fluctuation because most stable coins aren't stable. So you might buy in at $1 per whatever stable coin, and tomorrow it's 93 cents. Well, that's a cost to hold it. So there's also other costs, could be that due to inflation, et cetera, that because you're tied to a fiat currency. So obviously you're talking about inflation, deflation, et cetera. So demurrage, it's just the cost to hold an asset over time, right? That's it. So live Q&A. So let's jump on that. I have about 6% battery life here, guys. So I'm gonna have to run for a charger at some point, but we'll see how far we can get. All right, so just scrolling through. So what's the update on the Ether wallets from Bjorn? I have been traveling, so I haven't talked to our CTO about that specific topic because we've been talking about other things. I do know though that we went through testnet. Well, we went through tests are completed. I believe in the next 2 weeks you'll see the launch of those Ether wallets. So I'll get on Telegram over the weekend. And Bjorn, please ask me that question in the Telegram chat. Tag me, and I'll get on over the weekend and give you that update. Any plans to shorten the vesting period from Quinteen for the pre-ICO participants? I read somewhere earlier this year about the possibility. We talked about it. It was kind of a debate. We decided against it. So what we aren't doing is we're not waiting for the date of minting. It is the date that everything went trading live. So we're already into about a month roughly, or a little more than a month now, I guess, of XCM trading. So you're already a month into that vesting period. Tim Mueller, when new coins? Working on that, guys. We just started chatting about the BitGo infrastructure, when we're going to list the tokens and the coins. We do have to pass these to our banking partner for their approval as well, and some may need to be passed to the regulator. So that process is starting now. So in March, we're going to see some new assets. When transparency page, how much coins burned after 1 week, months? Okay, so also from Tim, when transparency page. So transparency page, new website is, let's say, designed, I guess, has to be coded. So I expect that process to start happening hopefully in the next 2 weeks, and then it'll be about a 2 weeks process. So probably towards the end of March, you're going to see that transparency page along with a brand new website, actually. How much coins burned after 1 week, month? That all depends on volumes once we institute that utility, and that utility is coming right around the time we launch our Ether wallets. So it all depends on volume. So the more volume, the more tokens and coins will be burned. Because basically what we do, if you don't know, is every fee that we collect. So let's say you trade Bitcoin Euro. That means the fee is getting collected in Bitcoin. Immediately there's a transaction that goes to the exchange, exchanges the Bitcoin for XCM. We burn a portion of that. So every single transaction creates a fee. Every fee, well, not every single transaction, because you can still buy XCM for free. So, but any single transaction other than buying XCM creates a fee. That fee is then basically exchanged into XCM. We burn a portion. So as volume increases, burning increases. When does the fee burn start? It'll start right around the time we launch our Ether wallets, Crispy. So you'll see that happen shortly. Jet Fuel, how much equity do you sell for investment in CM? Should be worried about a takeover. Nope, absolutely no possibility of a takeover. I myself and our second largest shareholder, we actually have the same amount of shares, which is Evan. You guys know Evan, I think, from the Telegram group. We'll always have majority. So there's never a possibility. We are planning to sell up to 10%. We've sold a fraction of that so far. So yeah, don't even are the larger commitments we have. Even if we add those together, we're not at 10% yet. So Binance Coin has performed better than any other crypto. Who would have thought? From Angelo. Exchange volumes are quite low. Any idea to increase usage? Hey, Angelo. Yeah, well, Binance, I hate to say it, but exchange tokens can be easily manipulated by an exchange. I'm not saying Binance is doing that. Don't take that as but I'm not saying they're not either. It's just too easy. For an unethical, it's unethical, and at worst, it's illegal. But it's very, very, very easy. So, I would take that with a bit of a grain of salt. They don't really correlate their volumes or the value of their company to that token price. It's all simply based on I think a quarterly burn, which I don't think has any tie-in. Actually, it has tie-in to profits, but it doesn't have tie-in to volumes. And more volumes don't necessarily mean more profits, especially when you lower your fee structure. So anyway, it's just great. Yeah, of course we have plans. We're waiting on funding to come in to launch major marketing campaigns, but we are doing lots of organic marketing, SEO. We're going to be doing an event in the Hong Kong Blockchain Week here coming up here in March, early March, and there'll be some other events coming up as well. And once we start getting funding rolling in, we'll start to kick off marketing across multiple media types. What's up with your ambassador program? You have said in 2 weeks, like a month now. When is it launching? It will be launching soon. So I don't want to get a John Smith there. I don't want to get another frown face. So I'm not going to give you a date, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be launching soon. It is top on our agenda now, and we're finalizing basically how it's going to look, how it's going to work. The GUI is being passed around, the GUI design and the wireframes, etc. So it's coming. Any new funding coming in? When will the floor be removed? Are you worried about removing it prior to the next set of vested tokens? So from Ginger Croc here, funding is coming in. Like I said, it's going to be month to month for the next few months, guys, probably 2-3 months until we see some larger tickets rolling in. But yes, funding is coming in. I'm not worried about the floor will be removed. We're going to institute market orders first. Once we see market orders still doesn't destabilize price, we will go ahead and remove the floor. I'm not worried. There's only 25 million tokens. There's only going to be there's only going to be about 20% of that released in about 2 months. 4 months after that, you're going to see the rest released. But there's only 25 million tokens in total being released. Right now, there's over 100 million that could be sold. So I don't expect that much of a movement, to be quite honest. Angelo Anthony, is burning tokens allowed by financial regulators? All depends how the burn. It really depends on how it's advertised. If you advertise it as a way that people can accurately predict the amount of available liquidity on the market, that makes it illegal, because you're allowing them to better speculate and get some insider information on where price may go. The burn itself, though, depending on how it's structured, is definitely allowed by financial regulators. Henry Lepic, any new partnerships you can tell us about? Not yet, but we are working on 2 that are in different points, either technical or business related, that we will be able to announce soon. One has to do with bringing on hopefully lots of volume on the exchange. The other one has to do with KYC and some services that we're offering to a few companies. Ginger Croc, any news on classification of XCM with regulators? Still going back and forth. Haven't gotten an initial response back from the regulator yet, so no news on that. I would expect news probably in a couple weeks. Tim Mueller, when 12 coins? Again, Tim, coming. Right now, we're getting that list over to the banks and the regulator, bank first and the regulator, so that we can make sure we can list the 12 we want to list. We're pretty positive we can, and then the technical will start. But they're all these first 12 are all on BitGo, so infrastructure-wise, it will be fast. The Kessler, is there a new source of wealth requirement for U.S. residents? It was optional for me. I traded a couple weeks ago, and then my account was disabled. I have about 5K on the exchange. There's no new requirement, but there are rather intricate flagging systems in the system. So in the EU and generally across the board, if you go over 15K in deposits, you will be asked 100%. But there are other triggers, and those triggers are based on location. They're based on if you were an ICO participant or not, and a token sale participant, and they're also based on several other factors. So what you should do if you want to find out the answer to that is simply get on support give them your email address, say, look, could you ask compliance why I'm being asked for a source of wealth, and they'll let you know. because every instance is not necessarily the same. There's not a the strict rule is 15K, but below that, we reserve the right to ask if you fall inside of a high risk client category. Don't take that the wrong way, but the classification is what pushes the request. Online support has no answer, he said. Okay, well then DM me on Telegram, Kessler, and I will get an answer for you from compliance. Bjorn, soon in CoinMetro terms can range between a week and a year. Laughing at it. Well, we're trying to shorten that up, Bjorn. I think our soon has gotten much sooner than it was before. But yeah, good on you for the joke. It's funny. I have to laugh at it. Digital Techie, hey Kev, where are you traveling next? So I'm in east coast of the United States with my youngest daughter. Southern East Coast United States. You can take we have a bit of a tradition. Once a year we end up coming here, have some family in the area, and you know, there's some child friendly activities close by, so that's where we are right now. I will be flying out in 2 days, and then I'm on to Hong Kong. Hong Kong will be Hong Kong Blockchain Week, and then after that I know there's a Singapore gig and a few other things. I'm also hosting a panel in Hong Kong on compliance, so we'll see how that rolls. Yeah, Link is not there. Link that's right, Tim. Link is not on BitGo, but Link will be added with our Ether wallets, which are coming up in the next 2 weeks anyway. Sherwin So, do you see Revolut as a competitor? For challenger bank services, yes, and they just had some big news. CFO resigned. They got some money laundering issues. They see guys, they basically stopped using something like a chain analysis, but for, let's say, but for banking transactions, because it was giving false positives. So a lot of people were getting flagged, and they probably got a lot of flack from their clients. I was like, hey, you know, why am I being asked for a source of wealth or whatever? So they stopped using it, and now they're in hot water for money laundering. So there you go. Are there any limits for fiat withdrawals on CoinMetro? Let's say something sells as XCM for €1 million a few years from now. Are there any issues with getting this kind of money out of CM? Sorry. No, there's no issues at all. I mean, you'll have to pass a source of wealth, but obviously that source of wealth is going to be pretty easy. I bought this XCM at your ICO. Here's the 3K that I bought, that I used to buy it. Here's how I got that 3K, and now it's worth $1 million because, well, it rose in price. So, but no, there won't be any issue, because obviously when someone sells, someone else is buying. So it's not like we have to cover anything, or if there's, you know, $1 billion worth of withdrawals one day, we have to cover it as a company. We don't cover those things. It's covered by whoever bought on the other side. So no issue whatsoever. All right, guys, down to 3% battery here. I'm going to see, I'm just going to check real quick Reddit. So 2 questions from Diligent Techie. You mentioned that CM might, this is from Reddit, guys, might have to live month by month for a while. Any news on that? I think I mentioned that already. We are going to get some more tokens on the exchange. Also mentioned that. So Diligent Techie, you're covered. Robin Timmerman, how much will the end result of the CoinMetro platform differ from what you initially envisioned? What was the biggest reason for the change of course? Community pressure, regulatory changes, funds? So I can't say that I had a visualization GUI in my head. I had a visualization for being different than everyone else and incorporating some different methodologies on how things are done and different tech in the background, as well as some different feature sets that I hadn't seen in the market. So I don't think it really differs anything from that vision. I didn't necessarily see a GUI in my head. Biggest reason to change course, community pressure, regulatory changes. Well, I don't want to say community pressure, because it's not about pressure, but if there's good ideas from the community, these are the guys that, you know, you were the guys that basically helped us put this whole thing together. So your opinions matter. So if there's opinions, yes, regulatory changes flow into that. Yes, funds right now flow into that a bit, but that's going to change. So it's that, and it's many other things. It's just, you know, so you try something, it doesn't work, you try something else, then you find something that works. Once it works, you roll with it. And if that means that you go a little bit off course of what you initially wanted to do, well, so be it. You know, it's all about just making sure you make the best product. So I'm not married to the product. I'm not married to anything there. If something needs to be changed for it to work better, well, I'm going to change it. That's it. And right now is the easiest time for us to test, right? We're small. We can be a bit more agile. Yeah, we need to make some money, but at the end of the day, we have the ability to test. And yeah, if something doesn't work out, we change it. That's it. How do you compete with Revolut? What kind of service do you intend to provide? Revolut, well, debit cards, IBAN accounts, SEPA transfers, SWIFT transfers, etc. Everything that Revolut provides, basically. So That's how we be a competitor to Revolut. You mentioned a while back a 10K fiat withdrawal limit for new users on the exchange. Maybe I'm mistaken. Nope, I think you are mistaken, because you can withdraw as much money as you have. You maybe ask for a source of wealth at some point if that amount exceeds, let's say, your net income or something like that, or gets over 30% of your net income. But there are no set restrictions. No. Oliver, your customer service guy sucks big time. Not sure who you're talking about, but yeah, I don't know. Oliver doesn't have a customer service guy, by the way. So I don't know who that is. Sherwin, so how reliable is CM KYC for the relevant authorities? Binance has some sort of KYC, other exchanges some sort of KYC. How good is the one compared to the other? Well, we're compliant. We're at or above compliance of a bank. They are not compliant with any level of financial regulation anywhere in the world because they're not yet regulated and they're trying to stay outside of regulation. Problem is that once regulation hits them, it's going to cost them so much time and money to go back and change. And they're probably going to lose vast amounts of their business. Look what happened to Shapeshift when they had to ask for KYC. Their volumes plummeted. So I think they're just trying to, collect as much money as they can before the shit hits the fan, so to speak. But we are compliant with financial regulation as if we were a bank. No one else does it. I don't think anyone else, to be honest, is that compliant. Kraken, pretty compliant. I'll tip my hat to them. They are pretty compliant. Binance, nowhere near where they need to be, and most other large exchanges aren't either. Jet Fuel, I was thinking about offering your KYC ability to other exchanges. Could that be a good revenue generator? That's something we're already doing, Jet Fuel. So yes, it could be a revenue generator. We already have actually commercials in place to be able to do that for other people. What percentage of crypto exchanges would you say are actually compliant with regulations? Low, under 10%, definitely single digits. Can you please email us? Can you email us when you disable our accounts for compliance reasons? Logging in to see accounts disabled, the customer support knowing wasn't a great look. I think we were already doing that. Maybe there was some issue with the email engine, but yeah, please put Ginger Croc. Please post that in Telegram and ask somebody to get it into the feedback channel, and then I'll make sure I get it up on our Slack channel as well internally, so that somebody can have a look. That should already be, and if it isn't, good on you for spotting that one. We'll get it fixed. Look, guys, 2% battery. I'm about to die here. We have no more questions on Reddit. Thanks, guys, for the questions here. I will jump on Telegram. Probably late tonight, and then late tonight, East Coast time, US, and then into tomorrow. Great chatting with you guys. Jordan, put that in there as well, and I'll mention that. Good on you. We should have an email when an order limit is filled. Yes, we should. Or a stop loss is hit. All that stuff needs to be added in there. Thanks, FA. Please love all our guys. They're all helping me try to move the goalpost here. So they may have a bad day, maybe you get a bad answer, maybe customer support isn't up to your standards one day, but trust me, man, they're going to be up to your standards the next day. So treat them right. Thanks, guys. Talk soon. Have a great weekend. Don't look at prices, and spend some time with family. I don't know, have a drink, do whatever you want to do, but relax. See you guys next week, and see you guys in Telegram over the weekend.